Okay, we are discussing about biological oxygen demand. Okay, that is what is mean by this biological oxygen demand means the amount of the amount of oxygen required by the microorganisms, okay, to decompose organic matter that is present in a 1 liter of water. 1 liter of water, the total amount of oxygen that is required by the microorganism to decompose organic matter that is present in 1 liter of water, we are calling it as a biological oxygen demand or biochemical oxygen demand. So that means if more organic matter is present in the water, the microorganisms require more oxygen to decompose. So the demand for oxygen is more if more organic matter is present in the water. So if more organic matter is present in the water, it indicates that the water is polluted. How we can able to understand that? Okay, the water is having more organic matter means by calculating this BOD. That is, if BOD is more, that means if the demand for oxygen is more, it indicates that the water is having more organic matter and we say that the water is polluted. If the BOD is less, that means if the demand for oxygen is less, indicating that a less amount of organic matter, and we can say that the water is not polluted. So that means if more oxygen is dissolved, the BOD will be less. Okay, that is what we can understand from this graph. So if more oxygen is dissolved, the demand for oxygen is less. So the BOD will be less if dissolved oxygen is more. Okay, if the dissolved oxygen is decreasing, you can see the red line. Okay, here we can see the there is a decrease in the graph. Okay, as a result, the dissolved oxygen is all okay. So when the dissolved oxygen is increasing, the BOD is decreasing. That means the demand for oxygen is decreasing, indicating that less organic matter is present. So if the dissolved oxygen is gradually decreasing, we can see the dissolved oxygen is increasing. So that means if the dissolved oxygen is more, the BOD is decreasing. So if the dissolved oxygen is less, the BOD will be higher. If the dissolved oxygen is more, the BOD will be lower. Okay, that is, if BOD is lower, it is indicating that the water is not polluted. If the BOD is higher, it is indicating that that water is having more organic matter and that water is said to be polluted. So when you observe here, if when you discharge the sewage water into the nearby water body, we are indirectly a lot of organic matter which need to be decomposed. So the dissolved oxygen, because as more organic matter is there, the microorganism will utilize more of oxygen. So the dissolved oxygen will be less because all the oxygen is getting used up. So the dissolved oxygen levels are decreasing. So the BOD is increasing. That means the demand for oxygen is increasing. That's why when you add sewage water, the dissolved oxygen levels are decreasing and the BOD is increasing. That is, biochemical oxygen demand is increasing. Okay. That is what we can understand here. So, okay, we can see some of the changes that may notice the following discharge of sewage into water. Microorganisms involved in biodegradation of organic matter in the receiving water body consume a lot of oxygen, and as a result, there is a sharp decline in dissolved oxygen downstreaming from the point of sewage discharge. This causes mortality of fish and other aquatic creatures. So what happens if that dissolved oxygen is decreasing? That means when we add sewage water, okay, more microorganisms will become active, and they make use of a lot of oxygen, okay, to decompose or to degrade the organic matter that is added by the sewage water. As a result, dissolved oxygen levels are decreasing. When the dissolved oxygen levels are decreasing, the demand for oxygen of water is increasing. Okay, because of this increased BOD and less dissolved oxygen, it is leading to the death of other aquatic organisms. Okay, like fish and other aquatic organisms. Okay, further deteriorating the water pollution, okay, causing higher water pollution. So presence of large amounts of nutrients in waters also causes excessive growth of planktonic algae called as an algal bloom. Okay, that is when you are okay, that means when we are using more phosphates and nitrates, generally we use to grow croplands effectively, the farmers use nitrates and phosphates. Okay, whatever the phosphates and nitrates you add, okay, even if you add a higher amount also, okay, the plants will not absorb. The plants will absorb only whatever they are required. More than the required, they will not absorb. So whatever they are required, they are absorbed, and the remaining all will remain in the soil only. But when a rain falls, when a heavy rain falls, then what happens? Okay, the rainwater will be drained into the nearby water bodies, taking all the dissolved nutrients from the soil, because these are water soluble. These nitrates and phosphates are water soluble. They are easily water soluble. So when they are present in excess in the soil, when the rain falls, they get dissolved in the rainwater, and along with this rainwater, they are drained into the nearby water bodies. So adding a lot of nutrients to the soil, nutrients to the water body. Due to increased nutrients in the water body, they enhances the growth of algae, leading to okay higher growth of algae called as algal bloom. Okay, and this algal blooms will further deteriorate the water condition, causing higher water pollution. So there is because of the algal bloom, which imparts a distinct color to the water bodies. Okay, distinct color to the water bodies. And next, algal blooms cause deterioration of the water quality and fish mortality. Algal blooms cause deterioration of water quality and fish mortality because these algal blooms, okay, they grow effectively using all the nutrients and also oxygen that is present in the water further. As a result, what happens? The oxygen levels in the water is further decreasing, changing the quality of water and leading to fishes death. Okay, leading to the death of the fishes mortality. So some blooms forming algae are extremely toxic to human beings and animals. Okay, these some of the algal blooms, when they are they produce certain toxins. When they are growing in large number, they produce a large amount of these toxic substances, and these toxic substances will be harmful to the human beings and animals also, when they consume such water. Okay. And next, you may have seen the beautiful mauve colored flowers found on very appealingly shaped floating plants in water bodies. Okay, like Iconia. Okay, that is a water hyacinth. Okay, there is a very colorful flowers are produced with differently shaped and beautifully shaped flower. Okay, leaves. They are growing massively. Okay, they are growing massively. That means in large number. And these plants which were introduced in India for their lovely flowers have caused a havoc by their excessive growth by causing blocks in our waterways. Okay, not the native. Okay, this plant, this water hyacinth or Iconia. Okay, it is not the native of India. It was brought from some other country because of its beautiful flowers and leaves. For show purpose, they were introduced into Indian waters. But as the conditions are very much suitable to this plant for growth, and a large amount of nutrients are present in the water bodies of India, this plant has grown enormously within a short period of time and created massive havoc, that is disturbed the water bodies by obstructing the flow of water. Okay, they grow faster than our ability to remove them. That means as they are propagated by vegetative propagation, okay, naturally, so they are growing very fastly than the at first we are removing. Okay, that means we are removing from one side and they are growing from the other side. By the time we remove all these plants, again it start growing from the other side. So that much very fast they are able to grow. So we are unable to remove these plants completely from the water body. These plants of water hyacinth, that is Iconia caryopsis, okay, the world's most problematic aquatic weed, also called terror of Bengal, because it was first introduced into Bengal and it caused a massive disturbance to the water bodies. They grow abundantly in eutrophic water bodies, that is the water bodies which are rich in nutrients, and lead to an imbalance in the ecosystem dynamics of the water body. That means okay, in an ecosystem all the organisms has to grow, but here, okay, this plant is growing enormously, obstructing the growth of other organisms. They are spreading widely within a short period of time, covering all the water bodies and obstructing the flow of water, and using all the nutrients and also oxygen, leading to the death of certain aquatic organisms. So that is okay. These are some of the reasons for water pollution, of sewage water, and next addition of nutrients, and next growth of this aquatic weeds enormously. Okay, these are the some of the reasons for water pollution. And next, and another important problem that is created by the water pollution or polluted water is sewage from our homes as well as from hospitals are likely to contain many undesirable pathogenic microorganisms. So another reason for not to release sewage water directly into the nearby water bodies is that this sewage water which is coming from homes or hospitals, because who is having which disease we don't know, but all this okay, if any person is having any disease, okay, and that domestic, okay, the domestic water that is coming from that house will join with the sewage water finally, and that water is directly added to the nearby water body, means we are adding that pathogenic organism. Even if you take hospital, okay, we'll find a lot of patients who are suffering with different diseases. If that sewage from the hospital is added to the water body, okay, we are adding this disease causing organisms to this. So that is so sewage from our homes as well as from hospitals are likely to contain many undesirable pathogenic microorganisms, and its a disposal into water without a proper treatment may cause outbreak of diseases such as dysentery, typhoid, jaundice, cholera, etc. Okay, sewage from homes. Okay, that's why, okay, if they are discharging the sewage, they are not only discharging only the wastewater, they are also discharging a lot of pathogenic microorganisms. Okay, if they are not properly treated, they may cause outbreak of serious diseases such as dysentery, typhoid, jaundice, cholera, etc. That's why you can observe very clearly during a rainy season, okay, because the water will flow into the nearby water bodies from different places. Okay, then what people will instruct you means, okay, while drinking the water, better you boil the water before you drink, especially during rainy season. Because during rainy season, what happens, okay, the different water from different places will come and join with the nearby water bodies, and that water is a highly, okay, because it is having mud, okay, waste and all that which is drained out from different places, so there may be some outbreak like cholera, typhoid, dysentery or jaundice. So what the municipality people will instruct you means, okay, they will instruct you to boil the water before you drink, so that we can kill these pathogenic organisms. Because by filtration, we can remove the dust particles and other materials, but we can't remove the microorganisms. Okay, for that we are using that chlorination or chlorine tablets. Okay, we are adding to the drinking water so that we can reduce the impact of this pathogenic organisms. Okay, so they will instruct you to boil the water before you drink. So that is some. So unlike domestic sewage, sewage, wastewater from industries like petroleum, paper manufacturing, metal extraction and processing, chemical manufacturing, etc., often contain toxic substances, notably heavy metals, defined as elements with a density more than 5 grams per centimeter cube, such as mercury, cadmium, copper, lead, etc., and a variety of organic compounds. Okay, that means if the sewage is domestic, okay, it will have different types of pathogenic organisms. But if the sewage is coming from industrial waste, okay, that is if the sewage, okay, is obtained, okay, sewage or wastewater, okay, it is obtained from industries like petroleum or paper manufacturing or metal extraction, that is ore, from the ore the metals are extracted now, or some other processing processing unit, that is a battery, okay, battery making or any other chemicals make, okay, manufacturing. Okay, what they release certain chemicals into the nearby water bodies. Okay, if the chemicals are, okay, simple and inorganic, they get dissolved and they can be used by our body. But if they are heavy metals, which are not in our body, okay, those heavy metals, okay, which are having density more than 5 grams per centimeter cube, okay, like mercury, cadmium, copper, lead. Okay, lead is obtained from a petroleum industries. Copper is obtained from a electric appliances making. Cadmium from battery industries. Mercury, okay, in gold industry, okay, for purifying and all that. Okay, we are using this mercury. So this mercury, okay, so these are all heavy metals which are poisonous. Okay, and these are obtained as the waste materials from the different industries. If added to the nearby water bodies from the waste from the industries, okay, it results in a phenomenon called as biomagnification. That means these chemicals get accumulated, okay, from one trophic level to another trophic level. Okay, why? Because why it is getting accumulated? Generally, if you observe the organic substances, while the organic substance is getting transmitted from one trophic level to another trophic level, it is getting decreased because it is metabolically utilized by the organism at every trophic level. That's why from one trophic level to another trophic level, how much amount of biomass or organic matter is transferred means 10%. That's why we said 10% rule. While discussing about ecosystem, we come across only 10% of organic matter is transferred. It comes to the heavy metals which are not metabolically used up by the organism. So as it is not utilized, whatever the metal which is not metabolically used by any organism, and that metal get accumulated from one trophic level to another trophic level. Okay, that is okay, this accumulation of these toxic substances within the living organisms through food chain from one trophic level to another trophic level, we are calling it as a biomagnification. Okay, for example, in the soil, okay, for example, in the soil, okay, around 0.0001 milligrams of mercury is present, which is absorbed by the plants. So 0.0001 milligrams of mercury will be absorbed by each plant. Understand? From each plant, okay, now each plant is absorbing around 0.0001, okay, 301 milligram of or parts per million. Some metal is there, some okay, heavy metal like mercury is present, and okay, it is absorbed by the plants from the soil. And next, now from the plant, which is a producer, from that it will goes to the herbivore. Okay, for example, a deer, okay, a deer living in a forest, okay, is eating around 100 grasses, 100 grass plants, has eaten 100 grass plants. Okay, now what happens? Whatever the heavy metal that is already accumulated in the grass plant, all that will enter into the deer. But the deer has eaten 100. So 0.001 into 100, because it is not lost into the atmosphere, because it is not metabolically utilized. So it will remain as it is in the plant, and that whatever that is present in the plant, that as it is, it will enter into the herbivore. So as the herbivore is eating 100, so now the accumulation comes to 0.01 parts per million. Okay, parts per million. So from the deer, so now from the deer, it will goes to the next trophic level. That is a primary carnivore. For example, if you say wolf, or okay, wolf, okay, a wolf or fox or a hyena, we can say. Okay, it is feeding on the deer. For example, in the lifetime of a hyena, it has eaten some around 10 deers. Okay, 10 deers. So here, what is the amount of mercury in the deer? Means 0.01, and some 10 deers were eaten by one hyena. So how it is accumulated means it will come to 0.1 percentage is increased, 0.1 parts per million. And next, from the hyena, so for example, if we take a lion, in the lifespan of a lion, okay, it has eaten 5 hyenas. It has eaten around 5 hyenas. So from 0.1, it will be increased to 0.5. Okay. And next, when the lion is, okay, it will be eaten by the vulture. Some around, okay, in the lifetime of a vulture, it might eaten some 10 lions. In the lifetime of a vulture, it has eaten some around 10 lions. So now the accumulation comes to 5 parts per million. So from 0.0001 parts per million, now it was changed to 5 parts per million in the climax carnivore. So that how it is happening means it is happening. Okay, this accumulation is happening through one organism to another organism through food chain, one trophic level to another trophic level. And this phenomenon we are calling it as biomagnification. Not only in terrestrial organisms, in case of aquatic habitat also we can observe the same. Okay, we can observe in the water. Okay, the materials are okay present in the water. Okay, from the water the phytoplanktons will absorb. Okay, around 0.0001. Okay, or in the given example you can see here. Okay, in the water, okay, one minute now. So there is a accumulation. Here we have taken a chemical substance which is non-biodegradable, like DDT. Okay, generally this DDT is sprayed in the water bodies, okay, to prevent the breeding of mosquitoes or to kill the mosquitoes which are breeding. Okay, we are spraying this DDT. How much is spraying? We are 0.003 parts per billion amount of DDT is present in the water, which is absorbed by the phytoplanktons. The same amount will be absorbed by the each phytoplankton. Okay, and from phytoplankton, okay, some of the phytoplanktons are taken as a food material by the zooplankton, that is protozoans. Okay, protozoans are heterotrophic animal-like organisms, microorganisms. So they feed on these phytoplanktons for food. So what happens? They feed some large number now. So the accumulation comes to 0.04 parts per million. From parts per billion, it is coming to parts per million. Because in its lifetime, it eats a large number of phytoplanktons. And from the zooplanktons, will enter into the small fish, because the small fishes will eat on zooplanktons. Now the accumulation comes to 0.5 parts per million. And next, okay, and next, okay, there are large fishes which will feed on the small fishes. Okay, that means it was increased by 4 times. Okay, from 0.5 parts per million, it was changed to 2 parts per million. It was increased by 4 times. And next, from large fishes, it is entering into the birds, because there are some sea birds, okay, are aquatic birds which will feed on these fishes. Okay, they will eat small fishes, they'll eat large fishes, all they will be used now. Whatever the fish that is available, that one it will eat. So the accumulation rate 2 ppm, it was changed to 25 ppm, that is 25 parts per million. That means it was increased by 12.5 times. Okay, it was increased by 12.5 times. It was increased. Okay, that is that a huge amount it is getting accumulated. And what is the okay, if they are not non-biodegradable, they are not utilized. Okay, what is the problem, sir? Okay, if they are not okay, even it is accumulated in the fishes after their death, they may be added to the soil. Then what is the problem, sir? You say. But the problem is that, okay, these heavy metals which are accumulated are causing a lot of health hazards in the climate, especially in the climax carnivores like human, the birds. For example, due to the accumulation of DDT in the birds are laying, that especially the vultures are laying thin-shelled eggs, which can be easily broken. As a result, the eggs cannot be hatched properly, because when the bird sits on that, because the shell is very thin, it is broken easily. So the formation of new generation is disturbed. So this is the reason for extinction of vultures, especially, or seabirds. That's why this biomagnification is a very hazard, okay, leading to a hazardous condition, leading to the extinction of certain birds. That's why we have to prevent the release of chemicals into the nearby water bodies. So we have to prevent the release of toxic or heavy metals into the nearby water bodies, which will cause biomagnification. That has to be prevented. Okay.